On this channel, I've covered a few topics already. Powerful and broken interactions, or bugs that can ruin your game. Today, I will show you something different. This won't revolutionize the meta. In fact, I don't think it will ever be useful. But if you're anything like me and you find the inner workings of TFT fascinating, then I suggest you keep watching. Because you're about to learn about a mechanic that not a single player has discovered yet. To understand what's about to happen, you need to take a crash course in ability targeting. Most units have very simple targeting. Usually they aim for the nearest enemy and they're very straightforward. We don't care about them. Instead, we want to look at units with specific targeting. Here we have units like Shen, who will tether himself to the ally that dealt the most damage, or units like Sona, who will heal her lowest ally. These units can run into a unique problem. Who should they target if they start the fight with full mana? I mean, nobody has dealt or taken damage yet. This is why Riot has to implement a tiebreaker mechanic. The most famous example for this was Vel'Koz. If you played in set 8, then you might know that his tiebreaker was to go for the closest enemy instead of the one dealing the most damage. This was the cause for Vel'Koz not functioning properly in ghost fights, because the damage of his opponents didn't get registered and he kept using his tiebreaker to go for the closest enemy. Now if we go back to set 8.5 and play Shen with full mana, you will notice quickly that his tiebreaker is to go for the closest ally. I initially tried to make use of this mechanic with his old carry augment that enhanced the damage of the tethered unit, but it was still quite weak and I didn't find much success with it. Now here comes the interesting part. There are ways to circumvent these tiebreakers at the start of the fight. Shen will use his ability on the ally who dealt the most damage. But how can you deal damage before the fight has even started? The answer is our good old friend Sunfire. This item is in fact capable of applying a burn before the fight has properly started. This will make Shen recognize that the holder of Sunfire is the unit that dealt the most damage, since everybody else is still at 0. Now it's time to be silly. If we have a unit with Sunfire in our front line, then this means we can body block our Shen in the bottom right corner. All the damage that the frontline unit receives will be transferred to Shen, and it should keep our isolated unit alive. I tried thinking really hard about a scenario where I can use this, but ever since Shen's carry augment got reworked, I couldn't come up with a proper use for this. The main hurdle I just couldn't overcome is simply that the unit in the frontline doesn't receive mana from damage taken. If the unit would receive mana without being able to die, then you could definitely do some shenanigans with units like Mordekaiser. But for now, this remains an unfulfilled dream. If you can come up with a way to use this, I would love to hear about it in the comments. I hope you learned something and see you next time.